Okay, welcome to this session. So, in this particular session, we will try to make a simple program which helps us in finding a root. Everyone, please mute your mic, please. Please mute your mic. There is too much noise. Okay. So, root finding. So, suppose you want to find the root of a function, a very complicated function. So, the easiest way to do it is to graphically do it. So, let us say the plot looks something like this. So this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. So we know that the points where the function, so let's say the function is f of x. So the points where it intersects the x-axis, they are the location of the root. So this root will be say x1, this root will be x2, and this root is say x3. But you can of course look at a plot of the function and you can say approximately that the root is over here. But how do you exactly find out the value of the root? There are various methods, and back in the day, this was a very important thing to do. Many a times in many aspects of engineering and physics, you do obtain a very weird looking equation like a transcendental equation, say like x equal to tan x or something like this. So then you are asked to find out the solution for this. So how do you go about doing that? In this particular lecture, we will be focusing on the bisection method. And based on the ideas that we learn in bisection method, you can easily extend the bisection method to the Newton-Raphson method. But let's see essentially what the gist of the bisection method is. So suppose this is the x-axis and suppose this is the function. Let me draw it in red. So suppose this is the f of x. So let us make two guesses. So let this be the first guess. So let this be x1 and let this be x2. So if f of x1 is greater than 0, or actually if f of x1 is less than 0 and if f of x2 is greater than 0, then this assures us that there is some x which is between x1 and x2 where f of x will be 0. So obviously this point. So you see what there is, right? If this is true, there is at least one point between x1 and x2 where it is 0. Alternately, if f of x1 is greater than 0 and f of x2 is less than 0, then of course there is at least one point x in the range x1 x2 where f of x will be 0. And the whole task is to make two guesses and to find out the location where fx becomes 0, right? What if our initial guess is not giving us two values where one sign of fx is less than 0 and the other sign is greater than 0? In that case, we cannot make any progress because we are not sure whether the root exists. So suppose my x2 was over here. So suppose this is the function. So suppose x2 was over here. Obviously, there may not be a root between these 2 points. So we are not entirely sure. So to ensure that there is at least one root, we must sort of make guess values of x1 x2 so that one side is less than 0 and the other side is greater than 0. Okay, so this is the general idea. So what should the function look like? And actually, before even going to the function, what is the algorithm of finding out this root? So the first step is to find out the midpoint. So we find the midpoint of x1 and x2. So the midpoint of x1 x2, suppose it is over here. So we call this x3. Now we evaluate the function at x3. So x3 evaluated will give you this. So this is f of x3. Now x3 is larger than 0. So we instead of retaining x2, we say that this new x3 will become x2. We now have x1 and x2 over here. So this x3 has now become actually equal to x2. Then we again take a midpoint of x1 and x2. So midpoint of this point and this point will be somewhere over here. So let this be x3. At this particular point, the function evaluation is over here, and here we see that f of x3 will be less than 0, right? In that case, we will discard this x1, and instead of x3 we will set it to x1. So this is now x1, this is now x2. We again take a midpoint. So by again and again taking the midpoint, we will converge to the root over here. That is why it is called as the bisection method. So bisection means you bisect the domain x1 and x2 and to find a new range of x1 and x2. And you can find this algorithm in any standard numerical technique book, but the gist I have already given. So one such book is called as Numerical Recipes. But the point is, this book is usually written for some flavor of programming language, so such as C or Fortran or something. But nevertheless, they also discuss the core of the algorithm in detail. In this particular lecture series, we will not go into huge details because we want to also encode it. So let us go to our Python environment, having understood what the algorithm gist is. As we go along the algorithm, we will see how and how it will look. So let me change the screen. Okay. Yeah. So let us make a new file. Let us first reset all the variables. So this will be to perform root finding using bisection method. Okay, perfect. Let us save the file bisection. So first of all, we must import. Okay, even before importing, let us first define what the function should be. We have to first find out from the user what the function that the root needs to be evaluated for. So we will define def f of x. It is defined as return. Suppose we want to find a simple root of x minus 1 times x minus 2. X minus 1 times x minus 2. So obviously the roots of this equation of fx equals to 0, the roots will be x equal to 1 and x equal to 2. Let us see that in fact. So x equal to np dot linspace 0 to 3 comma 100, y equal to f of x plt dot plot x comma y. I have used all the functions but I have not imported anything, so I must import numpy as np, import matplotlib dot pyplot as plt. Okay, so let's plot this. So let's draw the grid as well. So plt dot grid true. So x equals to, so where does the function become 0? At x equal to 1 it becomes 0, and at x equal to 2 it becomes 0. So we know this, it's a very easy example to see, and the reason I choose this example is because we can easily see whether the program that we are writing is converging or not. Okay, so we have defined the function. Now we have to, let us define the function which will actually do the solving for us. So def bisection, and what should be the inputs of the function? The inputs of the function should be two guess values, so x1 and x2. But is it the only thing that we expect. Let us go back to our writing pad. So if we look at the pseudocode for this, we have started with some guess value of x1, x2. We update, we find the x3 as x1 plus x2. We check for the sign of x3. If x3 is greater than 0, we update x1, or if it is less than 0, we update x2, or vice versa. It doesn't matter. Okay, we have to be consistent with the updates. That's it. So if you have updated this, we again check for the error. So how do you check for the error? So it all depends whether x1 and x2 are close enough. So how do you check whether x1 and x2 are close enough? We have to check for the relative error between x1 and x2. So what is relative error? So it is x1 minus x2 by x2, the absolute value of this. So this is the error. So if error becomes very small, then we have found the root, right? If x1 and x2 become very small after doing a lot of midpoint calculations, then it would mean that the relative error is very small and we can return the value. So we have to do an error calculation, but this entire code should run while error is larger than the threshold in the error. So what do you mean by error threshold? So it is the error that we are able to tolerate. So suppose as an engineer you say, okay, an error, a relative error of 0.001 is okay to me. But no, I'll say no, I want a relative error of 0.0001. So unless the error goes below this threshold that I define, I will not stop the code. I will keep on finding the midpoint. Okay, I will keep on finding the midpoint. So we have to make use of a while loop. Let's go back to the Python. So we also want to take as an input the error threshold. Okay, so inside this we will initially define error as 1 because we want to enter into the loop. So while error greater than error threshold. Okay, while this is true, let us do the calculation. So upon receiving x1 and x2 as the guess values, or let us write this as xg1 and xg2, the user will simply give us two guess values. Before entering the loop, we should check which is x positive and x negative. So we define x1 as the value of fx where it is negative, right? Or in fact we can define count equal to 1, and if count equals to 1, then check. So we will check that if f of xg1 is greater than 0 and f of xg2 is less than 0, then we will define x1 as xg2 and we will define x2 as xg1. Essentially I am taking the negative sign value and assigning it to x1. The left point I am assuming it to be negative and I am assigning it to x1, and x2 I am assigning to the positive value. Else if, so elif is the way of doing this, so I have to tab it appropriately. Elif f of xg1 is less than 0 and f of xg2 is greater than 0, then x1 will be xg1 and x2 will be xg2. If these conditions are not satisfied, what are the other cases? So what I have checked is f of xg1 is greater than 0 and f of xg2 is less than 0. So the guess values, one of the values is greater than 0, the function evaluated for one of the guess values is greater than 0, and the function evaluated for one of the guess values is less than 0. So that's fine. I'll assign it to the appropriate values of x1 and x2 and vice versa. But there can be the other case. So L if f of xg1 equal to 0 or f of xg2 equal to 0. This can also happen that the user defined guess, okay, the user defined guess is the exact root. If it is the exact root, then obviously f of xg1 will be identically 0 or f of xg2 will be identically 0. If we do encounter such a case, if f of xg1 is equal to 0, then we will say that the root is found. Okay, and we have to stop the computation. So r equal to xg1. So r is for root, and we will tell the user through a prompt that it is this, and we will break. So break means it stops the calculation of the entire loop. Okay. Now else if f of xg2 is equal to 0, then I will say that the root is xg2 and I will print root is found comma r. Actually I should say that the root is found during guess, because we have not even done any computation and we have already given the guess value as a root. Else, so if neither of these conditions are satisfied, it means there is something horribly wrong. So print critical error, check guess values. So it's a good habit to write this kind of thing, because oftentimes something can go wrong. Okay. In fact, let this, yeah. No, it's okay. And if neither of these conditions are satisfied, then we write else print check guess values. So we are using very simple conditionals. So this whole block of conditionals is to just do the initial check. Okay. This has to be count equals to. Okay. And this has to be a, okay. So we are able to do the if else of this. So if count is 1, it will execute this, otherwise it will not execute this. Now, once this thing is executed for the first loop, we have automatically the values of x1 and x2. Okay. Okay. So x midpoint, or let me call it as r, is equal to x1 plus x2 by 2. Now I will check for whether r, so if we look at this point, if guess is over here, guess is over here, if the midpoint is somewhere over here, then I have to update x2. I have to update x2. So if f of r is greater than 0, then x2 gets updated to r. And if f of r is greater than 0, is less than 0, then I must update x1. If f of r is identically equal to 0, which it may never happen, but it can happen. Then if f of r is equal to 0, then we have found the root. Okay, we don't need to do any more calculation. So I will say print root found r, and I will break the loop. Okay, else print. So if none of these condition happens, then there is something horribly wrong. Then say critical error. Okay, so we have evaluated what r will be, and we have reassigned it to the either x1 or either x2, depending on the sign that f of r returns. After this, we have to do the calculation of the error. So error. So can we always find the error? Okay, if we recall the definition of relative error, it is x1 minus x2 divided by x2, right? And actually it has to be the absolute of this. And if x2 is equal to 0, then we cannot really calculate this. So we have to check if x1 not equal to 0, okay, then error will be np.abs 1 minus x2 by x1. So because we are using numpy, we have to import. Okay, we have already imported numpy. Okay, good. Elif we have forgotten to put the colon, but we have not given the condition. So the condition is x2 is not equal to 0. Error will be np.abs 1 minus x1 by x2. So these are just ways of defining the relative error. If none of these works, it means both the two x1 and x2s have become 0, and obviously the root has to be 0. So then we will say else print root found, and we can return either of the two values and we will break. Okay, I hope this is clear. If not, the loop keeps on continuing. But if we get stuck in a loop where the computations keep on going, or if you are someone with very restricted computational power, you cannot afford to have a lot of loops running, right? This while loop can run possibly for infinite number of loops. Okay, it can get stuck in a loop, and so we want to limit the while loop to a certain number of loops. So let us define iter max as something. So iter max will be the maximum number of loops. So while error greater than error threshold and count is less than iter max. So count we will increase at the end of the loop. So this while loop we will increase the count equal to count plus 1. So if we have a lot of iterations running, count will become a very large number, and after sufficient number, say 10,000, you say that okay, you are not able to find the root within 10,000 iterations, and possibly there is something horribly wrong, so let us stop everything. So that is why the iter max is required. So that also goes as an input to the bisection argument, and at the end of each loop we want to print the current status. So we will say print uh, say iter number, and iter number will be equal to count backslash t error, and the error will be printed over here. This has to be the relative error. Okay, if we print this, we get an idea whether the thing is converging or not. Okay. Sir, yes. Can I interrupt, sir? Yes. Sir, after 5-7 minutes, sir. Okay, okay. No problem. We are almost done. We are almost done. We are almost done. So that defines our entire loop. So we have defined x equal to linspace. So this is just the plotting of the plot. and let us define the main over here. So let's say we know that graphically the root has to be somewhere over here, right? Let us focus on this root for the beginning. So let's say xg1 is 1.7 and xg2 is say 2.3, okay, or 2.1. So let us say iter max will be equal to 50. Let's say we wait for 50 iterations. After 50 iterations, if you are not able to find the root, we say okay, there is something wrong, and error threshold is equal to 1e minus 5. That we want a relative error of 1e minus 5. Okay, so let's pass all of this, and it will it has to return r. Okay, return r. Once the error is found, it has to return r. So in the whole point of this loop is, while this is true, once this loop get executed and it exits the loop, we have to return the value of r. So this while is indented with this, so we have to return r. Okay, so this return r is not inside the while loop, because the while loop indentation is this. Okay, anything indented by these many things is inside the while loop, while this goes outside the while loop. Okay, so bisection, or what have we called the function, bisection x1 x2 xg1 xg2 error threshold iter max. So let's run the file. Okay, so there is a invalid syntax. Okay, I've forgotten to put the comma. Okay, that happens. Okay, so after just one iteration we found the root. Okay, so let us change the values. Okay, because okay, so if I put a slightly weirder initial value, we see that iteration 1 the relative error is 0.08, iteration 2 relative error is 0.04, and the error keeps on reducing. Finally error becomes 5.03, and let's check what the root is. Actually I have not assigned this to anything, so I say root equal to bisection. I run this again and I say what is the, okay, I say what is, oh come on, what is the root? So the root is 2.000070 something something. So it gives us the root up until a very specified tolerance. Okay. So as a home task, I allow you to find the way the bisection roots are being found, how the domain is changing. Okay. You should plot on this axis x1 and x2. Because we only have 5 minutes left, I'm not doing it in this particular session. Okay. But it's a very easy task, and you should be able to do it fairly, in a very fairly straightforward manner. Okay, so yes, with this we have done a very simple bisection method. In fact, is it really so difficult? Let us see. Let us see. Once it finds the new value of x1 and x2, we can do the plot. So we can say plt dot plot, and the value will be x1 comma 0, and we will say okay, and the other value will be x2 comma 0, and the value will be sk. Let's see. Okay, so if we focus on this zone, okay, we can see how the values have evolved. So let me change the limit. So plt dot x lim, let us go to, in fact plt dot x lim should lie between x guess 1 and x guess 2, xg1 and x. Let me clear. Yes. So look, this is how the evolution of the roots has happened. Okay. PLD dot violin. Just I'm almost done. Everything else the students can do on their own. Minus 0.1 comma 0.1. So this is how the roots have evolved. So these two were the first guesses. Then the second guess went closer, guess went closer, fourth, fifth, and so on. So eventually we converge to the point 2. And this works for any function. And there are some limitations of this, and while doing this, we will find out how the guess can really cause drastic changes in the convergence. So this, how fast we are able to converge to the root is called as the convergence. Okay, so with this we close this session. Any questions?